Aloha everyone, this is Mitchell Ornelas. This is our Indigenous Minded YouTube channel on our journal videos. So this is another journal video, number 12. Just want to say thank you everyone again for whoever's been able to check this out and continue to follow. So I'll get right into it. I think last time I left off last week was on a Saturday. It was like my first few days into my first inpatient rotation on pediatrics right now. So just to kind of follow up after that, like Sunday I had a day shift, and weekends on inpatient rotations can be totally different. It was so different for me. It was the first time I carried like a bunch of patients. I had like 8 patients. I was working with a new senior. I'm still getting used to the system. It was pretty nuts for me. I learned a lot about one patient in particular because I had to see them probably about 10 times. I don't know. I felt like I got so many pages and I had to check on them. And there was like a rapid response, so I was like really worried about the patient, but we ended up doing well. And then it kind of, the good thing about having a Sunday weekend is like it leads you into the week. And so I carried like 8 patients, so I was like, when I went into the week I had like a little bit less, so I was able to keep the ones that I knew pretty well. And I even knew about some of the ones my other colleagues were taking care of. But Monday I had another day shift. I don't think I ever wrote like specific things, but I had like a day shift Monday, had another day shift on Tuesday, and these are like 12-hour blocks, like. And I'm at Seattle Children's right now, so it's the days kind of alternate when you sign in to day shifts. And with my team, sometimes you sign in about like 6:30 a.m. or it could be 7 a.m. And weekends, I think it was a little even different. I think we signed out at like 6 p.m. We signed in about like 6:30 or something, but. Over to the night team, or taking over from the night team, or signing over to the night team. Tuesday day shift, and I think some of these days I wrote down like some of my didactic stuff. I'm keeping track of like some of my papers. Like I got to get rid of a lot of papers, but I want to be able to go through them maybe at the end of the rotation and just take pictures, or just keep the ones that have like my little didactic like teaching pros. I'm gonna try to somehow collect those and keep them somewhere. Probably just need to have pictures. And I like to write things, and I can't always type anyways, even if I wanted to. So I gotta find a way for that. And I was just remembering now is like I'm not able to go to like a lot of my didactics with my program right now, so it's important for me to at some point check out those didactics. And I sent myself a message about that to stay on top of that. Same thing. Had a day shift Wednesday. Day shift Thursday. So one of these days, it was kind of like not really planned, I don't think, but I had to check in. It was important for me because I've been kind of scrambling a lot of this, and I was getting better at understanding my system, how to like pre-rounds in the morning, what's needed for rounds, and like how the afternoon flows. But when I had that rapid on Sunday, it was kind of like that patient I was really worried about, and they did better once we made some management changes and involved like cardiology and some of the things that we had to do. But the upper that I had was able to kind of tell me in a very professional kind of way of like how to just taking more control of what I need to do and not have to necessarily come to them with every little thing. Because for a while I was like kind of really nervous about certain pages and like making a decision, and I have to some things that I got to find that gauge of like urgency and what's really important, what's something that I can try to figure out myself or just make a decision on and see what happens based on that action. And it was a lot of important teaching stuff and learning stuff that I'm getting obviously on my first like inpatient rotation in residency, but that was really important, and I think she spoke to me and conveyed that in a very professional way, and I appreciated that. And then also I was able to kind of check in because with our attendings a lot of times they're like rotating week by week, and then I was able to check in, and that was good feedback I got as well. Just working on presenting and rounding and like how they like to have like certain patients with certain services, like a general medicine, they might like problem based, like they have this problem, this is what we're doing, versus like some specialists, like we work with GI a lot, they want like systems based. So like for their respiratory system, for their cardiovascular system, they have this. For their GI system, we have this, is what we're doing. So there's a lot of things, and learning preferences based on providers, based on the team, a lot of things that happen. So that was really important for the week. Friday I had clinic. I was able to go to my clinic and had a few patients. I I think I did. Yeah, I got a good diabetes patient just to try to work with them. I haven't really had like, I was expecting to get more. I'm gonna have more diabetes as a primary care physician, but it was like some things I was able to work through and talk through. And then I had, I think, another manipulation appointment. I've been having a few patients that regularly see me, and just being able to kind of have that continuity, I was able to talk about a lot more like health maintenance stuff. So the patient I was seeing like 3 times now, like for the last 3 weeks, able to test them. I don't think they had any history of being tested for hepatitis C, and they fall in this guidelines that it recommends it. So I made sure to order that, as well as my treatments, and just trying to help them improve. And like my treatments are working for them, but they just have so much chronic pain. It's just like we do our best. So that was some of the stuff I had there. Probably the biggest thing, and I was very fortunate this rotation. I was able to have a weekend off this weekend after my clinic on Friday to go back home to Oregon to my best friend's wedding, my brother, from college. And I was able to spend time with my family. That's my family right there, my EOU family, my Eastern Oregon University family. We all connected again. A lot of us were there at the wedding and it's talking about things. A beautiful wedding. It was great. We got to hang out the night before, at least a little bit. I got there late Friday night because my flight got delayed because we're waiting for our pilots or something. I ended up getting there pretty late, but we were still able to hang out. Got cleaned up a little bit for one of our dudes, so that was really super cool. I needed that. Big improvement from last video. And when you have a weekend off from like an inpatient rotation, it's really nice in a way that you get a break, but then it's like you're away from the service for a few days, and it's like, wow, I don't know what happened, what changed. Like I knew when I was leaving, there's a few patients that I've been following like this whole time that are like should be discharged by now, and I'm like, oh, that means I'm gonna have to pick up someone new. It's just kind of being comfortable with the uncomfortable kind of thing, and just go and do your best. But it was a great wedding. A lot of fun, a lot of dancing. Dancing was my workout for sure. But I was back home in Oregon. Let's see if there's anything specific I want to say. I think it's just, I'm happy to have that. It worked out. Because most of the time these inpatient rotations, you only get like a day off or so. But usually during, like one time during the rotation, you'll have like a weekend. So I was able to coordinate it with my chiefs and the chiefs of the children's, and made it work out. So very thankful that it worked. For me, it's interesting to connect with people from a long time ago and like get up to date on like how they're doing, what they're doing, and like what I'm doing. For me, as like coming from my family, being like the first doc, person of color, I have like a mission as well in medicine of what I'm trying to do. So a lot of times when I start talking about why I'm doing what I'm doing, what am I doing in medicine, I get pretty excited, and I get kind of like this word vomit type stuff. It's like this spiel I have, I talk about my mission, and sometimes I feel like it can be overbearing, but I mean, this is all like family, all friends, everyone's cool, but I try to check in whenever I'm talking to someone, because sometimes I feel like I'm talking too much, and they're like, do you want to hear what I have to say? It's like, so a lot of times I'll ask them like, well, how about you? Like if I'm like, feel like I'm saying too much. But everything's cool. I noticed that too, though. There's a certain thing that comes with like being a doctor, or being a doctor from, being one of the only ones maybe in like a conversation or in a room or something. You have to be careful. There's a certain thing that you can really, with some people, when you're talking to them, you can really direct the conversation in a certain way. There's a certain power dynamic sometimes that can be there, and I really don't want to use that in a negative way. I want to use it in a positive way, if anything, or try to eliminate it. And I know there is people, hopefully not too many people that I know, but there is people that would use that to negatively in some way, to manipulate people, and I really don't want to be that person. If I am going to manipulate someone, it's hopefully in a positive way, but I don't want to manipulate anyone. It's like, even with my patients, when I'm seeing people, it's like it's a group decision. I do believe in that, working together to kind of to whatever goal that we have. But I really needed to check in though too, just like being in this program that I'm in. We talk so much about like anti-racism, colorism, and just like all the power dynamics or discrimination structures that are in place. And it was good to connect with like like core friends and like talk about some of these issues like as people of color. Again, it was like checking in and just like saying my piece and saying like what it took for me to get to where I am now, and how tough and difficult it was, but how great it is now, and how I want to help the next generation, help other people, and be there for people. And we want to talk. If you have questions about medicine, I'm here. I'm that I can be that person. And I think that was like one of the big things I think about. It reminds me of why I chose family medicine to be that. I think as a family doc is you can connect with people pretty well, and you're pretty like socially adept and inclined, and I feel like that's important for me, and I feel like that specialty allowed me to continue that the best. Yeah, so I was able to talk about some of my own like feelings about like where I'm at now. I just talked about racism, some colorism stuff, some stuff that I'm working through personally, which I talked with my friends. I'm not going to get into too detail here, but I just wanted to mention that it's important for me to remember, and whoever's watching these videos can know that. But like for when I review these videos, I want to be able to remember those things, be thankful that I had that time. And it was like some of these times are like the only times we're really all getting together again, unless you're really able to put in time. It's like these events, it's like you do your best because we're all so busy doing our thing now. And it's like you pick up from where you left off and you're like, oh yeah, we graduated college. It's like whatever amount of years ago it was, like 6+ or whatever for me. Because yeah, it's like but a lot of us can just pick up where we left off, which is kind of cool. I can update each other, be like, oh yeah, I saw that on social media or whatever. But anyways, super good. I was glad before I left I was able to do some things to get ready for the week, like laundry and whatnot. So came back, I just had to like make sure I had my food set, got my workout in, clothes I'm gonna wear. So tomorrow is Monday, but it's Labor Day, but I'll be going in the morning. So since I am working on a holiday, I end up, for my program, I get an extra PTO day, extra vacation day I can use somewhere. So I kind of incorporated that already because I knew I was going to planning to come in. And it functions like a weekend day from what I was told, though, at this hospital. So I got to be prepared to handle a lot of patients again and people I probably don't know too well, and just do my best. And I think that's the best thing you can do. But yeah, so now I have a long stretch. So I have a few, like 3 or 4 day shifts, and then I go into nights. I go into nights for 4 nights. So it's like 4 days, 4 nights. Post call day, which is kind of like you're done with nights. You have that day off pretty much. But then I go right back into days for 3 days, and then I'm off. I'm getting towards the end though. So have my night shifts coming up pretty soon. So I'm expecting to probably be really busy, getting a lot of admissions and be able to do that kind of stuff. I've been doing discharges, and a lot of patients have been taken over, so haven't had to do like a lot of like H&P type stuff, but I know that should be coming soon, and other types of patients. But I don't think there's anything else I wanted to mention. Just want to say I'm glad I was able to go home and do this. It's important for me and my family, and as much as I sacrifice for what I must do to be the best doctor I can be, and the training I must do to be who I'm trying to be, it's like I want to be able to make time for those things that are important to me, and I'm glad it happened. But so that's pretty much some of the big things I wanted to say. And just want to say thank you everyone again for tuning in, checking this out. Continue to keep it indigenous minded, mission minded. So like I posted about the wedding and everything. It was in Portland, and it's close to where I grew up. And it's, I think, what I've been more conscious about, I know everywhere I live and everywhere I'm at, I try to be conscious of like the native indigenous people I'm living, whether it was in Hawaii, Oregon, Arizona, now in Washington. And I never really I knew like my family in Eastern Oregon, the Umatilla, and I know like the migration patterns, and I know trading and pre-colonization. We were in Portland and up into Washington and other parts of Montana, or like kind of everywhere. So I recognize it as an area of like my people, but also like trying to recognize the tribes that are there, or maybe not represented so much anymore. Like we have Multnomah, like part of the, you think of Multnomah County, but I think it's probably named after the native people. So make sure to be conscious of that and give thanks to them, because this is their land, and I try to think about those things. And I think it's important for everyone to feel that way, but definitely I feel conscious of that as an Indigenous person. So just wanted to mention that. So, all right. Thank you, everyone. Aloha. Mission minded, Indigenous minded.